Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Guys, before starting, I just released some specific car courses that are on my website, and if you want to improve at a quicker pace, those will be excellent. Now going into the track guide itself, for turn 1, our reference for braking will be either this yellow part of the wall on the right side, that yellow paint, or the exit concrete road that you can see right here. We want to brake before it, so try to judge the distance, make sure you're braking nice and early, because we don't want to understeer into this corner. You really want to have the car pointing, and you need to understand that this corner is a bit different than the others. It's almost like a chicane in which we're gonna keep the brake pressure applied all the way to the next corner. So look what happens. Right now, we're on the brakes. We are trying to cut as much as we can here. Super important with this car, we need to exploit the track and we need to take advantage of the suspension. You can get away with cutting quite a lot. So make sure you're putting our left tires here on this yellow anti-curbs. A small bump, it's not gonna be the end of the world, but the most important thing and what makes this chicane or this part of the track unique is that you will still be on the brakes right now. So if you're doing the mistake of just braking for this corner and then going on throttle in between this corner and the next one, you will lose more time because you will overslow the car. The key here is to shoot the car with a lot of speed, so you will still be on the brakes. So right now, look, we're in 4th gear, still braking, still on the brakes. In between the two corners, just because right now we don't need to steer as much, we can brake more. So the braking has 2 stages, one lighter stage, that is whenever we take the first apex on the left side, but now for the second one, for the right-hander, we have to increase the brake pressure more. So look, we're going to 60%. Look at this brake shape. This is exactly what should be the main takeaway out of this corner. Again, getting very close, in 3rd gear, still cutting a lot, still on the brakes, and when we get on the throttle here, make sure you will keep a tight and narrow line towards the right side. We want to hug this red and white curb. We don't want to have the car going into the center. Look how close we are to the curb. You have to put your right tire barely brushing on this bigger red sausage curb. So putting our tire there, and when you go on throttle, you stay on throttle. You maybe do a slight modulation like we have here, but you don't want to go up and down with your throttle input. You will lose a lot of time. So you will use all the track on your exit, and now on the next corner, braking point for this corner will be this. You can use multiple references. The best one, in my opinion, is just in front of you on the track is this drain right here, this water drain where I'm pointing my mouse. This is the best reference to use. You usually want to brake before it. You can also use this number 5 here on the right side, but since you have to look more towards the right and then to take a left-hander, it's a lot simpler to just look in front of the car. You will brake initially in a straight line, then you will turn more and more. Once again here we want to keep a tight line. There's a lot of grip here on the inside. If you go more towards the outside, the grip levels are lower, so you just want to stay tight, enter gear hugging this white and the red curb, and you have to go on throttle when you have a lot of steering wheel angle. That's gonna be perfectly fine, but make sure you're hitting this curb like this because it will shorten your distance. If you're not cutting enough, you must delay your throttle application. There won't be the chance for you to make it if you're not cutting there enough. Now we're gonna use all the track here on the exit, and for the next corner, make sure you're using all the track so you can use a bit more. Here, just putting our right tires to the right side of the white line. You want to point the car first into the corner. You don't want to brake and then turn. You want to turn, and then when the car is pointing, you will drop the throttle and just apply a tiny bit of brakes, like right now, 5% on the brakes. Make sure you're cutting here to the grass because we need to stay very tight initially. We take kind of an early apex because the car will track out to the center of the track, and in fourth gear, still holding the brakes. So notice that you have to trail brake a lot to make this car rotate. The GT4, it's quite difficult to work with in terms of trail braking. I'm planning to do a specific course on this car exposing how you can extract everything out of it. But just so you know, this car, the main tendency will be to understeer. So if you're not doing things like this with low percent braking and you just have a gap in your inputs, you will for sure understeer in this corner and lose a lot of time. So still holding the brakes, still holding the brakes. Right now our vision should be on this red anti-curb because we want to get close to it. I think we could have gone a tiny bit closer in this attempt. Now getting back on throttle, and right now in this corner in front of us, you must always make sure that you're traveling the shortest distance in corners like this. So what you should imagine right now is that you're drawing a straight line from this corner to the next. So naturally, the quicker line will be this straight line. So we'll try to keep the car as straight as possible and avoid turning left and right like a snake, because this will scrub a lot of speed. So look what we're doing. Going completely off this curb while braking, so the braking point is at the curb, then pushing the car straight up until here, now braking more and letting the car track out a bit wider, and then getting back again. So this is a double apex corner. We're treating it as a double apex corner. So once again, let me show you the first apex. The first apex is right here. This red cone right here. This is our first apex, the cone in the middle, second cone. Now we let the car track out wider up until here, then we go on throttle, and our second apex is this beginning of this texture right here, the green part where I'm pointing my mouse. Then we're cutting it, putting the throttle to 100%, and we go into another chicane. And it's the same principle. You want to keep almost a straight line going through it. So right now, look, pointing the car. So right now you can see that the car is almost already pointed. Like if you keep it straight from this point onward, you will arrive to the next curb. So we're cutting here a lot. The moment that we hit the curb, we drop the throttle because the car gets unbalanced. Now our vision is to this red cone right here. We want to get very close to it. So dropping the throttle, pushing a bit the brakes, getting really, really close. Look how much we're cutting. This is key. And then still holding the brakes, still trailing, getting on top of this red and white curb, then putting the throttle. So you see, we're not doing a lot of left and right, we're almost trying to go in a straight line. This will gonna be the best approach. Now for the next corner, the braking point will be this blue banner on the top. Slightly before it, you will be applying the brakes. You get very close in fourth gear to this part of the curb. The moment that you hit it, you will push the throttle, and the best tip that I can give you here in between these two corners is to make sure you're reaching 100% with the throttle. That's a good indication that you had good rotation and good speed through the corner. So look what we're doing here. We're hitting 100%. The moment that we hit 100% of the throttle, we're applying the brakes. But make sure you're just not holding like 60-70%, that won't be enough. You will lose time. Now holding the brakes and cutting a lot, making sure we're using the suspension of this car, putting the throttle down, using all the track on the exit, and now for the final part, the last two corners, braking point here will be this dirty part on the grass. You see here on the left, the grass is a bit dirty around this point. Here we're applying the brakes, just using the brakes to make the car rotate. You don't want to overslow the car, so in 5th gear, the moment that you touch the curb is the moment that you go on throttle, because you have this space, you have to take advantage of it. And now going into the last corner, make sure you're using all the track and get away with a lot of track. So first of all, we're not turning right, we're turning left because we want to straighten up the car. Then before this pit entry line, we'll be applying the brakes and we'll brake in a straight line. Look, 0 degrees on the steering wheel to maximize the initial braking. We're aiming to bring the car here on the green like this, and the moment that the green ends, now we will fully commit to the throttle. So notice how much we open up the corner. We're downshifting to 3rd gear because you need rotation here, you need a good run out of this corner because it leads to a big straight, and then you will be apexing quite late, almost at the ending of the big red sausage curb. You can cut it a tiny bit, putting the throttle back on. It's gonna be easy to not get the off track, so not a perfect example. The throttle should be always going up. We had some hesitations around here, but this is a difficult corner. If you're doing like this, you'll be almost perfect. But if you want to take it a step next level, try to apex a bit later and always go up with the throttle without corrections. And in short, that's a track guide around here. It's a very fun lap, and if you want to improve at a quicker pace, once again, check out my courses. Thanks for watching, looking forward to see you in the next one. Bye bye.